What's up everybody, welcome back to Mount Mograph, Summit 42, the champ gamer tag. My name's Matt, as usual, nothing's changed. Thought about changing my name to Captain America, realized that was taken already, so now I'm staying with Matt. Anyway, check out this video, and then let's go make it. So there it is, that is the champ gamer tag inside Adobe After Effects and a little bit of Illustrator. We're going to be doing some super modern animation styles, I don't know, like tons of little accents that'll just take your animations to the next level, some cool tips and tricks along the way, and also we'll be going through some really nice features in Illustrator just to get your designs going very quick and painlessly. So let's jump into Illustrator and get this guy started. So once you open Illustrator, you can do Command N on your keyboard to create a new composition, 1920 by 1080, click enter, there it is, it's popped up here. As you can see in our menu bar, we have CMYK, which is just not going to fly today. So let's go into our file, go down to document color mode, switch that guy to RGB, and let's get this video rolling. Additionally, I have this folder you can download in the video description called Summit 42 Assets, and it's just a deer head picture like this, a hand picture and a vector wing picture. All these pictures were taken from Google. I don't know who actually made them, but since we're doing this just for fun, it's not commercial work. I think it's totally cool, and we'll be able to show off some cool features if you guys don't know about them. So anyway, let's open our folder and just drag all these images over into Illustrator, and they'll just pop up. I'm going to minimize my Finder and come back into our Illustrator, and let's go through the image trace features just to get your designs going real quick and painlessly. So as you can see, we have our image here. If you click it, this whole menu bar or options will pop up, and let's click image trace. So your computer's going to think for a second, most likely something happens, but we don't see anything. Let's go over to our menu button right here and pop out some more features. You might have this toggled closed, but if you toggle down your advanced settings, let's just click this ignore white feature. And immediately the white background of our image is going to disappear, and then we'll be able to go up here and click expand, and immediately we have a totally vector-based images and with vertices that you can just edit and change as much as you want. So that's a very easy way just to get your designs kick-started if you don't want to spend the time to draw them. And once again, I don't recommend this for commercial work just because these are, you know, probably copyrighted. But for today's video, I think it's cool and an easy way to show off Illustrator's features. So next we have the little Rockstar hand, which is pretty rad. And let's go up to our image trace, click that guy. Once again, we'll go up into our menu options and just click this ignore white. The white background will disappear, but since it's on white, we won't see it. Close our image trace, click expand. Once again, we have a vector hand. Man, I sound like Dr. Seuss right there. Anyway, so I'll just put this hand floating above this deer head because that looks cool. And then this website, allsilhouettes.com, you can actually download these as vector formats, but I thought for this video, we'll just go ahead and make wings the way we made the other two things. So let's click image trace. Go over into our menus here, click the ignore white, and white background will disappear, and click expand. Boom, we got vector wings all over the place. Fantastic. So first what I'm going to do is just actually select all these with my selection marquee, come over into my color guide or whatever, and just pick some colors I like. So actually I'm just going to pick, let's go with a light blue. Actually, I'll do Shift X on my keyboard to flip-flop my fill and my stroke, and I'm going to call that good, and then I'm just going to turn off my stroke here, and we now have tons of blue stuff on our screen, which is just, man, that is perfect. So let's just start by just laying this out real basic, and this is what I did for the first one, and then we'll get over to the fun stuff. So let's just put the deer head in the middle here and maybe scale it down quite a bit, something like that. Select your wings and do Shift Command G to ungroup them all, and yeah, basically I just found some wings I liked and put them on the side of the deer. So I hold Alt and copy that guy, right click, go to Transform Reflect, reflect vertically, and put the wing on the other side over here. Fantastic. We now have a very cool looking thing. Wish I had drawn that, but it's even better to just use vector images. Next, let's grab another wing we like. You can do whatever you want. Maybe this one would be cool. So I'll just drag this out over here and maybe scale this guy up. So just hold shift and scale it up proportionally, and rotate this a little bit so it'll line up better, and place this once again by the wing, and do shift command back bracket and send this to the back of our images, and just select a different blue color so it we have some contrast there, which should be cool. Maybe select the deer head and pick a different blue color. So that looks nice, and I'm going to do shift command back bracket and then command forward bracket just to send that wing back. And looks like we need to grab this one, so hold alt and drag it out, the big wing, transform, reflect vertically, and once again position this kind of in the back of our deer head. So that looks pretty cool. And also, I'm just going to throw it out there, I'm going to get back to posting regularly. I've actually had tons of stuff going on, and actually a lot of it's been for this channel. I'm going to have a website up shortly with some extra content, some cool downloads, and even a blog. If you're not sick of hearing me talk, you can read some stuff about nothing. So that's cool. And let me select these and just delete it while I talk. And then, yeah, so I'm really excited about this channel, and there's going to be some awesome stuff coming soon. Anyway, back to the video. So let's just grab this little Rockstar hand over here and position this kind of on the side. That looks pretty dang good, and just position it something that looks nice to you. I'm gonna put it maybe like this, and I like how that looks. I might actually scale this up a little bit, make it huge, because it's a Rockstar, so you got to make sure everyone sees it, and maybe position this just a little better. Might drop it down. This is all whatever looks good to you. You don't even have to be making the same thing if you don't want to. And that looks kind of cool, I guess. It's not going to be perfect, but once again, this is just for fun and for learning purposes, so we'll pretend it's perfect. Let's pick a different blue color for this one, I guess, as well. So just click around till you find something that works and doesn't look too horrible. Maybe I'll go with this white one. Hold alt and drag out to copy this. Right click, transform, reflect, vertical, okay, and position it in the middle of our dude here. So we now have a very symmetrical design that looks pretty cool. And when I was looking at this, I was like, okay, this looks kind of interesting, but you know what would make it more gamery and cool and modern is if we put an eye in here. So just grab your ellipse tool, hold whatever, shift, and drag it out so it's a perfect circle. And then I'm just going to press A for our selection tool, and just select this top point and just drag it down a little bit. Actually, no, I lied. Press P on your keyboard for the pen tool. Hold Alt and Command to bring up your vertices, or Shift C. I think it's actually Shift C. Yeah, Shift C for your anchor point tool, and just click both these two sides so we get kind of this like eye drop shape, which is what we want since we're making an eye. So press V on your keyboard again for your selection tool, and hold Alt and just drag down so it turns into an eye just like that. And we'll put this in the middle of our deer head, and just one eye just so it looks kind of like different, a little bit more interesting and crazy, and that is totally cool. A lot of modern design uses the one eye, and I can see why, because it looks great. So let's drag a circle out over here. Draw a circle and do Shift X on your keyboard to switch the stroke and the fill, and then we'll just toggle this up a little bit on the stroke settings up here until we have a nice outline. Drop this in the middle of our eye just like this, and I'm going to scale it down proportionally holding Alt and Shift, and then I'm going to select just the same color as the deer head, Shift X to change it to our fill color, and just scale that up. So there we go, we have an eye in there. And then let's just draw a quick circle just for the pupil. Shift X to toggle the fill and the stroke, and whatever, V for the selection tool, and drop this in the middle of our eye. So there we go, we got a crazy deer head. Looks pretty intimidating and scary, but obviously it looks a little funky down here. Let's cover that up. This was my little design way of going through the design. I was like, man, this looks horrible down here. What do? I add a little banner, because that is a great way to hide content you don't want people to see, and also tell some information no one wants to read, so it's perfect. So just position this banner somewhere in the middle of the deer that looks good to you. And I'm going to use the same color as my deer head. Once again, let's use the command Shift X to toggle our stroke and our fill, and just turn up our stroke until we have something we're happy with. I'm going to go up to 19, it looks like. and then I'm going to actually click this fill color and just put it to pure white and press OK. So now we have like a blocked out spot, and this looks pretty cool. So now what we're going to do is actually select our little banner and go over into your stroke panel. Mine's docked over here. You might have to go up into your window and select the stroke. And I'm going to turn my align stroke. Also, if you don't have all these options, just click up in this little menu and go to show options is what yours is going to be. And so let's just align our stroke to the outside. So our stroke is on the inside of our object, and this is going to be helpful because now we can duplicate this. So Command C and Command F on your keyboard, press A for your selection tool, and just grab both these points over here and just drag them over to something like this. Give it a little bit of a stagger, maybe like that, and then do Command back bracket a couple times till it's actually behind our banner layer. So that looks cool, and yeah, that looks great. So let's just create another rectangle here. Actually, I'll just duplicate this one. So hold Alt and drag it out over here. And then do Command back bracket a couple times to send it behind our other layers. Press P for your pen tool, and let's make another point right in the middle of our little banner, and press A for your selection tool and just drag this back so we have some points, and then just scale this down until we are able to tell it is a little banner. So how phenomenal does that look? So amazing. Let's grab these two things, hold Alt and duplicate them over here. Right click, transform, reflect vertically, and then just put these behind our object just like that. Boom, we have a awesome banner and a little deer craziness going on, so that's cool. And then I was looking at it and I was like, man, this really just needs something else to kick this up a notch, and I wasn't sure what until oh darn it, now it's not in the right spot, but all right, that's good. So anyway, I was looking at it and I was like, now what do? I gotta add some content, and this reminded me of some kind of like sweet modern like gamer channel, and I really liked it, so I couldn't think of any words other than gamer at that point because I'm brilliant. So I just in my text box typed in gamer, and just to fit this kind of style of this kind of retro modern, I don't know what the heck to describe it as, I just used Georgia, I think the font was. So feel free to use that. It's a cool font. It's supposed to be the world's most legible font, which is a nice little tip. And look at me not actually choosing what I was talking about. But yeah, it's supposed to be the most legible font ever, so you can look that fact up if you don't believe me, but I think it's kind of cool. I don't know why I can't select Georgia today. Georgia, there we are. We finally got the gamer. I'm going to select my type, go up into my type menu, go to create outline, so we have all vector formats, and I'm just going to drop this in the middle of my little banner dude and scale it up a little bit, and let's select the same color as our deer just so we get a nice cohesive design. Boom, that looks so great. Now what we need to do is just probably do little accents on our gamer, so just draw out two little bars, nothing fancy. Just make it the same color, put one on the bottom. Wow, we're just making this so incredible. But yeah, just always add little accents to stuff, and that's what makes your design look like you spent way more time than you actually did. It's pretty fun. So I'm trying to select the circle tool here. I don't know why I can't. There we go. Got my ellipse tool, hold shift, drag it out, make a circle, and I'm just going to pop this guy on the sides of my gamers because I realized I needed to fill space. So it's all about just filling extra space with random stuff, and like it starts to look like you really thought out the design, which I did not. So anyway, let's make some more text. I saw we had some extra room down here, so I was like, well, it looks like we'll probably have to add some more content. I used lobster, I believe, but I guess for this one I'll use the wisdom script, which I think is a free download, so I'll put that in the video description if you want to download it. And then I thought like you could add a slogan or something. Yeah, I guess I'll do slogan or a website, and then we'll just put that down here. So I'll go up into your type menu, go to create outlines to make this guy vector, and just zoom in a little bit, and we'll scale this down till it looks a little better and just fits right in there. That looks great, and maybe center this up. It should snap if you have your align selected. So that looks all right. I might actually just grab these bars and put this down here as well, just to fill space, and this should look all right. Yeah, we'll call that good. Grab our slogan, make it the same color as our gamer text, and there we go. We spent so much time on this. It looks so good. So now what we did, the next step would be to kind of just draw a circle. You know, I wanted to find a nice color contrast for our little graphic here. So I just sent it to the back and used my color guide to just pick a random color that made some nice contrast with the rest of what we've made. So let's see. We'll just click around until we find something that looks cool and not too horrible. Let's go with this dark blue. So this is going to be a very water themed little animation here, but I think that looks cool. So we'll select it all and do Shift Alt and scale it down proportionally and just put this in the middle over here. So now that we have some nice contrast going on for us, I'm pretty happy with this. And now what we're going to do is just break this up into layers so we can animate this really easy inside After Effects. And then we'll add all the accents to this inside After Effects. So let's just create a ton of new layers. Let's go with the magic number of 20. And I don't know if we'll actually need all those, but why not? I'm going to grab my layer and just drag it to the top of my panel and then just work from the backwards forward. So I'm going to drag this circle, click this little square, drag it down to the bottom, and it's going to pop down here. I'm going to name this BG for background and then hide the layer so I know that is taken care of. The next background stuff would be these wings. So I'm going to drag this wing down to the bottom. I'm going to call this back wing left, I guess. Back wing left. And then I'll grab this other one over here and click this little square, drag it down while I'm holding and call this one right wing left. I don't know why I'm calling it right back wing left. That's what I want to say. Back wing right. That's what I actually want to say. And then I'll hide those layers right here so we know they're taken care of. The next layers would be these wings here. So let's just do the same thing. Drag this down here. So I'm going to call this small wing left, I guess. And then I'm going to grab this other wing and call this small wing right. Perfect. So let me hide those layers, and the next layer that would be in the back looks like it's going to be this deer head. So we're going to click this deer head, drag it down here, name this real quick, deer head. Fantastic. I actually spelled it deer wrong. Deer head. There we go. It's an animal. So then I'll hide this layer, and the next one will be this background of the eye. So I'm just going to click this, drag it down like this, call this BGI, call that good. Next we have this, I don't know, I'm going to call it like a pupil accent or something. I'm not sure what the rim of the eye is called. Pupil accent. That is very vague. And hide that. And then we just have our regular pupil. So click your pupil and drag it down and call this pupil. So as you can see, this process turns very quick. I've done it for a lot of videos. I hope you guys are getting the hang and hope you're having fun. But yeah, that's about it. So anyway, let's call this right Rockstar Hand. That is very descriptive. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And then this other one will be the left Rockstar Hand. So left Rockstar Hand. Yeah, so like I was saying, I've been restructuring the content of this channel for new videos. I hope they turn out a lot better. You know, I was like not quite happy with the content that I've been putting up lately, and I was like, I need to do better. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to do better for these next couple videos, or for all the videos following this one, I guess. So I'm actually going to click these rectangles here, and since we scaled it down, now the stroke seems a little bit too large. So I'm just going to go up to my stroke and turn this down to something a little bit more reasonable so we get back that definition. So it looks like I will be going to 7, and then this one didn't change, so I'll just also change this one, and there we go. So perfect. So let's, I guess, do the slogan, and I'm actually just going to select all those together and just drag these down here and call this layer slogan, because we're just going to wipe that on with a linear wipe. Next, let's grab the side of this banner here, and this part isn't important, just to get a nice little draw on effect. So with this banner, let's just call this right back banner, or right flag banner. I don't know. I can't think of what to call these layers. So that looks good, and then I'm going to call this layer right here. This is going to be right mid banner, and hide this layer. Then we'll repeat the same thing on the other side. So this is going to be called the left flag banner, a flag banner, and I'll hide that layer. And then we have our left mid banner. Man, it would be so crazy if I picked 20 and it was actually the right number. That would be nuts. So this is the left mid banner. I'll hide that layer, toggle that guy out. Next we have the actual middle banner, so I'm gonna pull this one down and we'll call this one middle banner. Hide it, and I just like hiding it because you have a perfect sense of what you've already worked with. So then we have these other layers. I'm just gonna actually select both of these together and pull these down and put them right there, and I'm gonna call this layer gamer lines, or gamer eyes, which is even better. And then we have two circles, so I'll drag this one out and I'm gonna call this right circle, and then hide the layer, and it looks like we'll have to add another layer. So I was one layer off, which is pretty dang good. So I'll grab this layer, drag it down, and call this one left circle. And then obviously our last graphic here would be called gamer. So there we go. We have all our layers separated. It looks fantastic, and yeah, this should be really fun to animate. So let's do Command S to save this. I'm gonna save it to my desktop as Superman. I don't know why, that's the only thing I could think of in the moment. And then I'm gonna hide our Illustrator and just open up After Effects here. And just use a basic workspace, nothing fancy. Command I on your keyboard to import something. I'm going to select the Superman graphic we just made. Make sure you select Import as Composition to retain layer sizes. Very important. Click Open and double click into your Superman, and boom, there is our Superman. He looks so cool. I actually do like this graphic. I think it's fun. The hands could probably stick out a little bit more, like the video I played in the beginning. Yeah, I had it a lot better, but we'll work with it. Hopefully you guys make that change and make it look a little better. So first thing I'm going to do is just go down into my background and just press S for scale and scale this guy up so it fills our whole screen. And then I guess I'm also going to zoom in crazy and just lock this background layer so we can't click it. But I just want to see that contrast instead of on white, because we also are using white. So the first thing we're going to want to do is animate this deer head. So let's just find our deer head. I'm going to actually select everything and hide it, and just find our deer head here. So we have our pupil accent, our background eye, and our deer head, and I'm just going to make those layers visible, and we're going to start by working with these. So the first thing we're going to want to do is actually, I forgot to do this step, is go back into Illustrator over here and just select this deer head and do Command C on your keyboard and Command F on your keyboard to paste it in place. Create one more layer and drag it up to the top up here, and just drag your deer head layer that you just copied up to the top and call this layer lines, and then select your deer head layer one more time. Do Shift X to toggle your stroke and your fill. So as you can see, it switched there, and then just do Command S to save this. Go back into your Illustrator file. I'm actually going to delete these. I'm sorry about that, guys. And then just import this one more time, but why not have a little bit of practice and do Composition, retain layer sizes, click Open, and double click into our Superman layer. And just repeat these steps. So select your background, press S, scale this guy up, lock the layer, and boom, we are back to square one, basically. So let's select all of our layers and hide them all. And then we're going to select our deer head, our background eye, our pupil accent, our pupil, and also our line layer, and then make those visible so we know what we're working with. So the first thing we're going to want to do is figure out a way to bring on our deer head. So I guess I'm actually going to hide our pupil accent, and our background eye for a second and just really focus on this deer head and the deer head lines. So when I was looking at it, I was like, well, we have these nice deer head lines. Why don't we like somehow draw in the deer head? So the first thing I did is just right click this and go down to, where is this option? Create shapes from vector layers. Select that guy, delete our line layer, and then hold Command, click your twirl down, and just add a trim path onto this guy. So with your trim path, let's just select all these options right here. So offset, end, and start, add a keyframe, and then press U on your keyboard to toggle up, and as you can see, we have our keyframes. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to try to do these videos a little bit better, so I'm going to assume that you guys have watched some other videos and kind of know what we're talking about. So if I breeze through stuff, I'm sorry, but drop me a comment and I'll get back to you, and you should be all good. So let's just go back on our trim paths. Let's set both our start and our end to 50. So 50 and 50. And let's actually drag the ones we keyframed after, just drag these in front of the other ones. So now when I play it, it's going to draw on from the middle, which looks pretty cool to me. Just because it starts basically in the middle. Actually, what I'm going to do is unclick my offset keyframe and then just toggle it so it actually is going to be even. So it looks a lot more even. You can now see the lines are closer. So that's what you use your offset for, is to kind of pick where you want to draw the lines. So for me, I wanted to draw them on equally in a kind of like radial motion. So now it draws on nice and smooth. Looks totally cool. So next, let's go back into our line outlines. Hold Command here and click into your arrow. And what we're going to do is go down to our dashes here and just click this plus button to add dashes to our lines. So now we have a cool little like draw on effect. So in our dashes, let's actually turn these up. Turn these down is what we want. We want more, maybe to like 9 looks cool, or maybe even a little less. Let's go 3. So now we have this nice dotted outline. Man, my mouse is acting crazy today. And so now it draws on nice and smooth. It looks cool. And now we'll be able to use our deer head to fill in the rest of this. So we have our outline. Let's just select our outline and press F9 on our keyboard to add an easy ease effect. Go into our graph editor real quick and just select both these options and just grab it so the speed of the graph is just a little bit faster, so we have a nice little pop to our animation. So now we have a draw on effect. Looks fine. Let's zoom out a little bit. Might drag up this window so we have a little bit more working space. Man, my mouse keeps like scrolling down just so crazy. So let's see, we have our draw on effect. That looks good. The next step is going to be to grab our deer head. So that is right here. I'm going to turn this layer on. And what we're going to do with this layer is actually just add a Venetian blind effect. So if you go up into your effects and presets, let's type in VEN for Venetian and just grab this Venetian blinds and drop it onto our deer head layer with no problem. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and just add my direction maybe to like 60 or something, and then just turn my transition complete until I get these lines in here and just toggle it till I find a nice angle. So for me, I kind of like this 51 angle, and I'm going to turn my width actually down a little bit so we have some closer lines. And that looks pretty cool. So now that I'm happy with my line spacing and width, as this draws on, so let's just see, I'm going to hide my layer for a second. As this draws on, as soon as it's drawn on, so about here, I'm going to click my transition complete and just set a keyframe, turn back on my deer head, and turn this down to 100%. And then I'm going to go forward just a little bit on my timeline and turn this effect up to 0%. So now when the video plays, we're going to have a nice draw on effect. All of a sudden the deer head is in. It looks cool. I'm going to press E on my keyboard to see my keyframes for my deer head layer. Select my keyframes here, do F9 for easy ease, and then just go into my graph editor and turn my speed up a little bit. So there's once again a nice pop to our animation. So boom, boom, good. All right, so that looks cool. I kind of like how that looks. The next up is going to be to animate this eye on. So I'm going to grab my background eye, very easy. Just pop it in like this and zoom in. So as you can see, we have our line draw on, looks cool. And the next thing we're going to want to do is have this eye kind of look like it's open. So if you select your background eye layer and press S on your keyboard for your scale, we're going to add a scale keyframe, unclick your constrained proportions here, and just move your keyframe forward a little bit. So that's going to be 100%. And then I'm just going to turn my height, so my Y height, down to 0. So now if I play it, it's going to look like the eye opens, which is super cool. And once again, F9 on your keyboard for easy ease. Go into your speed graph and just turn the speed up a little bit. Whatever you feel like might look good. So I'll just randomly drag the other side and just get a little different look to it. So that's cool. The eye opens with a nice smooth pop. And as this eye is opening, why don't we bring on our pupil accent and our pupil? So both of these are cool little eyes, and they're the same color as our deer, which works out. So let's press S on our keyboard to set a scale at 100% and just move these forward a little bit and go back in time. And we're going to set both these down to 0. So now they're going to also scale up with our pupil opening or our background of the eye. Grab both of these layers, press F9 on your keyboard, nice and easy, just like it is described, so easy ease. And go into our graph editor with both those selected and scale up our speed graph, very easy to 100%. And now we'll also have a nice smooth pop. So that is cool, but they come out at the same time. So an easy fix for that is actually to turn our pupil accent, just drag these keyframes forward a little bit. So now it's going to look like it pops out from behind the other eye. So it's like boom, boom. Great. That was easy. So we have our deer head coming on. I like how this is looking. Now what we're going to want to do is make it look a little bit more interesting, because although we have our deer head drawing on, we still have these dotted lines, which kind of looks like it's getting like messed up. So we're going to somehow have to bring this out. And what I thought would be cool is once it's drawn on, so as the eye is opening, why don't we select our line outlines, which is for the deer outline, press S on your keyboard for scale. And I'm going to use the move anchor point script, which you can actually download in the video description if you want to use it, and just set my anchor point to the bottom of my object here. So my anchor point jumps down here. If you don't want to download the script, it's totally free. You can just press Y for your pan behind tool and move your anchor point down here. So now that my eye is opening, as it opens fully, so right about there, I'm just going to scale this deer head up to maybe 138. So that looks cool. But obviously as it's scaling up, it kind of gets weird. So I thought it would be cool to bring it out. So let's press T on our keyboard for our opacity. Press U on our keyboard to bring up both our keyframes. Go forward in time until it's scaled up. And just a little bit before it's scaled up all the way, let's turn our opacity down to 0. So, and then I'm going to actually drag my other opacity up a little bit. So now it kind of pops up, and obviously that's very boring and linear. So let's select both these keyframes, press F9 on our keyboard for easy ease, go into our graph editor, select both these keyframes, and just turn our speed up, and then maybe on this side also turn this speed up just a little bit. So whatever you want. You can be totally random, and it's going to look better than normal. So that is cool. Let's check this out one more time. It pops up. It looks a little bit more interesting. I actually think I want it to go slower. So let's drag these two keyframes and just drag them over here. And now it's going to be a little bit smoother. It's actually very slow, but I think it'll work for now. So there it is. It pops up easy. Let's zoom out and see what else we can do. So I do realize that my line outlines is actually on top of all my other layers, which is just not going to work. So let's grab our line outlines and just drag this behind our deer head, just like that. So that's perfect. So now we have our little deer head draw on. The lines disappear. It looks cool. What we probably need to do is make this more interesting. So as this is wiping on, so let's go to just about when the lines are almost closed. Let's start bringing in these, whatever you call them, our wings. So I'm going to select my two small wings here and just make them visible. And press R on my keyboard, hold shift, and press S on my keyboard for scale. Still holding shift, let's press P. So we also bring up our position properties and just set a keyframe for all of these. So then I'm going to grab all these keyframes with my selection marquee and drag these forward to maybe, I don't know, I'm just going to guess and put it here. And I like to do that because we have our end point of our animation, and we set keyframes and then just move it forward so you can stay right where you are. And I'm going to turn my rotation. Oh, I selected opacity. I actually want rotation. So let's hold a shift and press R for our rotation, and then just unclick our opacity here. So our opacity is no longer keyframed. Select these rotation keyframes and move them forward to our other keyframes. Sorry if that got a little confusing. And then what we're going to do is now select our small wing right, so this wing, use our move anchor point script and just select this bottom right corner, so our anchor point's down over here. Select our small wing left and move our anchor point to this corner, so I'm just going to select my bottom right corner, and now our anchor point's also in the middle. So now when I rotate our wings, it's going to rotate around that anchor point we just moved. So I want to make it look like, you know, it's kind of flying. So if I turn my rotation to, let's call it 41, so minus 41 for the right, this one would be plus 41 for the left. It's now going to kind of pop out. So now it's going to look like the wings open as the eyes open, which I think is a cool effect. So I'm happy with that. Now what we're also going to do is scale these layers down. So select your scale for both the layers and just turn this down till it's like just a little bit smaller than the neck of the deer. So looks like I will be setting mine to about 31, seems to do it for me. And so what I'm also going to do is just with both those layers still selected, do Alt back bracket to cut the layers to where our current time is, just so as the deer is drawing on, we're not seeing the layers and then all of a sudden they are there. So it's going to just look a lot more dynamic. So that looks pretty dang cool. It's kind of slow, but we'll speed this up once we're all done with our animation. So let's do F9 on our keyboard for easy ease, and just like always, let's select all of our layers here and grab our speed and just turn it up, and maybe toggle this one just a touch to make it a little bit more interesting. Pretty easy and repetitive, but we're getting into the cooler stuff. So there we go, we have our cool little wings pop out. And then what's nice is we have a whole second layer of wings to use. So I'm going to select my 2 back wings, make them visible, and look at this, it's already starting to come together. Let's press, holding shift, let's press S for scale, bring up our scale properties, holding shift, press R for our rotation properties, and then what else did we use? I think that was actually it. We just need our scale and rotation. So let's set keyframes for both of these right here, and our scale and our rotation. And let's just scroll back in time to see kind of where we want it to be staggered, because like the whole thing with motion graphics is if you keep stuff moving, the animation looks a lot more interesting. So these are starting to come on just like this. That looks cool. Let's go a little bit afterwards and just select all these keyframes, that's our end frame, and move them forward. And then we're going to go back in time and just stagger this. So I'm going to have this be our beginning point when the other wings are starting to come out. So let's select our back wing right, and that's this wing over here, and select our bottom left corner, so now I can actually rotate it around that point. Let's select our back wing left and select the bottom right corner. Anchor point's now over here, which is perfect. And what we're going to do is just scale these nice and smooth. So I'm actually going to turn this one up to like 61, and then this one would be minus 61 because we want it to be nice and even. So that is just about perfect. There it is. So let's select our scale for both our layers and just turn this down. Let's go real small. So I'm going to turn mine down to 19. So it's like really tucked behind the neck. Once again, let's do our Alt back bracket to hide that layer. Select all of our layers here and do F9 on our keyboard for easy ease. Go into our graph editor just like every other time and just turn our speed up. Actually, let's just crank our speed up so it's really, really fast, which might look nice. So now we have our deer head draw on, it wipes on. We have our 2 layers of wings come out nice and smooth. Just looks like a bird trying to fly or something. Totally awesome. As these are coming on, we still have another element to bring on. So let's bring on our Rockstar Hands, because we haven't touched those. And if you hide your layers like we've been doing, it's very easy to see what you've animated so far, and it just keeps you nice and organized. So let's select these 2 Rockstar Hands, make them visible. Look at that, rad as can be. Once again, let's select our left Rockstar Hand, this one over here, select our bottom right corner. So now our, whoa, what did I do? Actually, what corner do we want? For this one, we actually probably want our top right corner, so that's going to be over here. So the anchor point's up here, I believe. So if I rotate it, that did not work. Okay, so you actually want to select this middle point. So there we go. Yeah, so let's select your right middle point. On our left Rockstar Hand, let's select our left middle point. So that will also rotate. If you press W on your keyboard, that is for the rotate tool. You can just do a quick test, and there it is. Perfect. So let's select our Rockstar Hands, both of them, and do Shift, or press S for your scale, and do Shift R to also bring up your rotation properties. And let's grab both of these guys. And now let's repeat the process, because why not? So after the wings are open, we are going to stagger this layer. So just find that endpoint where your wings come out all the way. And a little bit after that, let's set our 100% keyframes over there. And then just stagger the motion once again. So with these hands, I kind of want to bring it on maybe in the middle of the wings. So something like around here. And for these, let's actually scale both of these down. So holding command, select both your scale properties, scale these down to, let's call it 34. and I'm actually going to tilt these down so the other way, so they're going to like pop up from behind. So I'm going to go from 39 and minus 39, so they're going to pop up from behind our banner once we actually get that animated in there, and they're going to pop up nice and cool. So let's select both of our keyframes here, F9 on your keyboard, repeat the process because it's so easy. And I might actually zoom in holding Z for the zoom tool just so I can see what's going on because I have no idea. And select these guys, turn your speed up, and maybe turn this one a little bit different just because. And get out of your graph editor. And let's see how that looks. Boom, perfect. That looks cool. And you know what might be fun is if we take our... Actually, we might revisit this. Let's just keep that motion nice and simple. Go to the start of your keyframes here, and just with both your layers selected, Alt back bracket to cut your layer just like that so it's hidden until that point comes up. So let's play our animation real quick and see how this is looking and what more we can do to make this even more interesting. So if I play the layers, we have our wings, our deer head, our other wings, that's going to pop up. It's looking pretty cool. So we have this nice little deer antler thing pop out from behind there, and it looks cool, but I kind of want it to come out again for these wings. So what we're going to do is just select our line layer, our line outlines, and do Command D on your keyboard to duplicate this layer. Press U to see where your keyframes are, and I'm just going to drag this forward a little bit and save myself the time of remaking the layer until it lines up with my time. And then I'll just delete these layers, and then as usual do Alt back bracket to cut that layer. So now it's going to just repeat the whole little antlers popping up, and I didn't have to animate anything extra, which is a nice way to do that. So we have antlers and we have more antlers, and it's just layering that effect to make it look cooler and more interesting. So let's do Command A to select all our layers and do U to toggle all the layers down, and let's actually make a little bit more room here. So select your Rockstar hand down to your wing and just shy guy them. So click your shy guy and then go up here and click your shy option. So now we have tons of room, but if we toggle it, they'll be visible again. So now we can really focus on the rest of our animation. So let's start by animating on our middle banner. So I'm going to select my middle banner here, and there it is if you've forgotten about it. And let's press S on our keyboard for our scale. So now we have our graphic built here. Let's actually just scroll back in time until we find a good point to start bringing on our graphic. And remember, we want to keep as much motion going as possible to keep this nice and interesting. So I kind of like it when the deer head, the dotted lines are drawn on. So with your scale, let's set a keyframe here and then just move this 100% completion forward a little bit to, I don't know, just guess for now. And then we're going to unclick our constraint proportions and go to our X property and just press that to 0. So it's going to pop up just like this. And let's have it actually finish when the pupils open, so it's like a nice synced time. So it looks like it'll be about here. I'm going to select both these keyframes here and do F9 on my keyboard for my easy ease. Go into my graph editor. As usual, let's crank this up to 100% and maybe grab this side and just turn this down. So it's going to be a very abrupt change, which might be fun. So now it's going to be like kind of a snap into spot. So it's going to go slow, and once again we'll retime this once it's done. It's going to be slow, and that's the nice thing. I'll show you another little tip to get everything to speed up. So that looks cool. I like it. As soon as this is into spot, so I'm just going to go to this last keyframe here. Let's bring on our middle banners. So I'm going to select my left mid banner and my right mid banner and make these visible. And then what we're going to do is actually go up into our effects and presets and type in linear, and that's going to be for a wipe. So with your linear wipe, let's just drop this onto our left mid banner, which is this side over here. And let's turn up our completion to see which way this is wiping. So this is wiping the wrong way right now. So on your wipe angle, all we have to do is go over to our 90 degrees and set this to negative. So now it's going to be wiping from the other side. So let's turn this up to 100% completion and click a keyframe here. So if we go for it a little bit of time, let's make this a little quicker. We're going to turn this down to 0%, and it's going to look like it draws on. So now it's going to be like a snap, and boom, there is our other layer. So on our left mid banner, let's press U to see our keyframes. Select our keyframes, press F9 on your keyboard for easy ease. Go into your graph editor, select your keyframes, and let's crank our speed up for another snap here. And now it's going to snap into spot. kind of slow. So let's actually go back in time and start this motion a little bit sooner. So I'm just going to go until the line is kind of there, and it'll just time out a little bit better. So I like how that looks. So let's grab these keyframes and select them, do Command C on your keyboard to copy them, go and click your right mid banner and just do Command V to paste them in place, and press U, and once again we have the same keyframes on this side. Now one of the things you'll notice is if you scrub through this, oh, this actually worked perfect. Nice. So yeah, that's all good. We have our little lines draw on. As soon as our lines are almost drawn on, so about here, let's bring on to our other banners. So it's going to be our right flag banner and our left flag banner. Make these guys visible. And what we're going to do is select our right flag banner, so this side, go into our move anchor point script and set our anchor point to this side over here. And then select our left flag banner and set our anchor point over here. So let's select our right flag banner and our left flag banner, holding Command, press S on our keyboard for scale, click our scale buttons, and then unclick your constraint proportions so we can scale up only the X property and not the Y. Drag this 100% completion over a little bit, as always very repetitive, and turn this down to 0. And then we'll turn our right flag banner down to 0 as well. So let's select both these keyframes, the set of keyframes, holding Shift, do F9 on your keyboard for your properties, go into your graph editor, select your graph editor, and turn your speed up, just like we've been doing over and over, as if this could get worse. Additionally, if you guys have this Easy Ease script, which is also linked in the video description, feel free to use it, but it's kind of fun to get into the graph editor and just, you know, have a nice little hands-on approach. This is a quick way to do it as well. So there we go. Wow, that timed out perfectly. Our banner pops up with our hands. It looks so cool. Yeah, that works really nice, kind of. And once again, I don't like how these hands are so close to the deer. I liked in our video example having the deer hands kind of go out a little bit farther. So maybe that's something you guys might want to switch. So this looks pretty cool. Let's just scroll back in time and see what else we have to bring in. So once again, we're starting to get some really nice layers, and it looks pretty cool. So we have the deer head, we have this thing pop up. Wow, awesome. It draws on. Cool. So as you can see, this is a very easy way to just work with layers and banners and simple effects for really unique, kind of cool and different effects. And I love these wings. They're actually really cool. So yeah, let's do Command A to select all our layers, U to minimize our layers, and let's actually get this slogan coming on. So I'm going to make my slogan visible. Remember, we made this all one layer, and let's just drop our linear wipe on there, and just, we don't have to do anything fancy, so I'm going to turn my feather up a little bit. And that's just going to make it so it's kind of blurry as it wipes on. And let's bring on our slogan. And just pair it up with some other movement when some other movement snaps on. So what if we brought on our slogan as soon as this little side points here hit? So right about there, I want it to be 100%. So I'm going to click this transition complete and just set a keyframe. Select my slogan layer, press U, and there's the keyframe we just made, and go back in time until our little middle panels aren't on. And then I'm going to turn my transition complete up until it is visible. So it looks like 100% is going to be the number I need to get to, and I'm going to change this to actually -90 because I want it to wipe on from the left to right for some reason. So that looks pretty cool. Let's select these keyframes, and guess what we're going to do here? F9 on the keyboard for Easy Ease. Select your layers here and just crank that first one up to 100% so we get a nice little snap. Boom, and that comes on nice, beautiful. It's all coming together. So let's do Command S, I guess save this to your desktop. Superman Wolf Mama. That's the name of this project. So sweet. We have this wonderful animation, and we have just a couple more things to bring on. So let's select the layers we've just animated and just shy guy them to keep our layer panel nice and clean. Let's select our gamer lines, or gamer eyes, which is what I called them. S on your keyboard to bring up your scale properties, set a keyframe, and let's bring up our scale properties slightly staggered with that front keyframe. So as soon as your banner's on, let's go forward a little bit and set this keyframe to 100%. Go back in time to about, I don't know, something like this, like the deer's kind of opening its eye. Let's unclick our constraint proportions, turn our X property of our scale to 0, and there we go. It's going to draw on a little bit staggered from our center banner. So press F9 and once again repeat the process as if this could get more fun. There's absolutely no way, because this is just taking all day. And turn this on. Yeah, so I'm doing this this tutorial at 1:37 a.m. So as you can see, I'm a little crazy. So that always happens. I can't sleep. I put up a tutorial. I guess that's better than not putting up a tutorial. So yeah, we got our gamer lines. Let's select our gamer text, and since we have a lot of horizontal movement, I thought it'd be cool to kind of bring in some vertical movement just for a nice variation. So as these lines are almost on or about equal with our gamer, let's just make with none of your layers selected, grab your rectangle shape and just draw this over your gamer, and just pretty much cover up the whole text. Grab your call this gamer mask, I guess, and put your gamer mask above your gamer text and select your gamer. Go over to your track mat and set it to alpha mat. There's our gamer. And what we're going to do is press P on our keyboard for position and set a positional keyframe. And then go back in time, or actually just move this forward a little bit. So I guess I'll line it up with the game lines being fully on. And just turn this Y property down, and since we added that mask, it's going to actually hide our gamer tag, so it's going to look like it pops up nice. So it's going to slide up nice and smooth. Let's make this a little bit more interesting. So F9 on your keyboard, go into your graph editor. Let's right click our position and go to separate dimensions. And so what this is going to do is give us two different properties to play around with. So I'm going to toggle out of my stuff right here. And what property all right, so we set a keyframe to the Y. I just had to figure out what the heck I was talking about. And let's go to our value graph here. So now this is the path of motion we have. And what we're going to do is, let's see how this is affecting. So as it goes down, it's actually going up. So it's like inverted. If we select our keyframe down here, let's just grab this little dude and just drag it so it actually goes under. So what this is going to do is make it look like there's a little bit of a pop into place, which is cool. So let's go back into our menu here and go to speed graph and toggle back to everything visible and see what we can do, because this is just not going to work. That's too fast. So let's have this go smoothly into place. And oh, now it goes backwards. All right, we're just going to call that good then. Just have that nice like snap, I guess, whatever. Click out of your graph editor. That's an interesting way. If you guys want to play around with separating dimensions, there's a lot of stuff you can do, but whatever. We added a nice little pop, which looks kind of interesting. Additionally, if you have your ease and whiz script, which is free, you can go into easing and set it to back, and just maybe we'll do this instead. So set it to back if your computer doesn't freeze, and just set your type to out and click out, and then just select the keyframes you want to add that to and click apply. So that might actually work better. So now it's going to basically do the same thing, but a little bit smoother. And what you can do is toggle this down, and as you can see, the expression is added, and go into this and show post expression graph. Go into your graph editor, and as you can see, this crap is added to it, which is kind of what I was trying to do, but I didn't want to waste your time. So let's go back into our graph editor and yeah, just finish with this animation, which I'm having fun with. I hope you guys don't hate it. I think it's kind of an interesting effect. Yeah, so now what is next? We have to bring on our right and left circle. So I'm going to make these visible and see what I can do to make these more interesting. So if I select my right and left circle, I'm going to actually scale these up bigger than I need. So let's turn this up to 369 and actually unclick your shy guy right now and do Command A to select all your layers. And what we're going to do is click this middle gear thing and just click that. And as you can see, let me show you, this is blurry, but these are vectors layers. So it's based off math vertices. So if we click this continually rasterize thing, it should get clearer, and it'll look even better once we get a full render, but that's just going to make our animation look a little bit cleaner. So then I'm going to hide all my layers with the shy guy, and we now have these really horrible circles that are way too large for what we need. And so what's interesting is I'm going to start bringing these on before the banner's actually there. And how I'm going to do this is with my right circle selected, do Shift Command N, and that's going to add a mask to it just automatically. So if you double tap M, it's going to bring up your mask properties. And in your mask path properties, you can go to Shape and set your reset to, set this to ellipse and say OK. So now we have a circle on our circle. So what we're going to do with this is set a keyframe on our expansion and turn our expansion down to, for me, it's going to be about -11, and then go forward a little bit in time to, let's call it when these big wings are kind of lined up, or just wherever you want. And I'm going to turn my mask expansion up to a 1. So now it's going to look like it's just scaling up. And the reason I did this is because now I can select my mask path and do Command D to duplicate it, toggle down my options, and go to the properties here and set this to subtract. So what this is going to do is make our little guy disappear, but if we select our keyframes and move these forward, it's now going to stagger our subtract mask from our add mask. So we're going to get a nice little pop of animation. So check this out. It's going to pop up and it looks like it kind of has a little ripple effect, which I like. So I'm going to select these layers and just holding Alt, drag these back and scale down that so it happens a little bit quicker. And that looks pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is obviously select these layers, do F9 on the keyboard for easy ease, go into my properties, go into my speed graph if it's not selected. Maybe I'll have to zoom in a little bit. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. This is very different. What the heck? All right, I'm just going to guess at what I'm changing. That is reassuring, I'm sure, for somebody who's like trying to learn something. Have the guy be like, yeah, I think this is right. Oh, it's because I have my post expression graph still on. So just actually unclick this if you are still selected, and that'll make more sense for us. So now I'm only seeing what I actually want, which is these guys. All right, well, that makes sense. So anyway, we now have a nice little pop or ripple thing going on. And maybe I will drag this back a little bit. I want it to start cutting the shape path a little bit sooner. So I'm just going to drag this back till we start to get a hole in the center. So right about there. So it looks like don't stagger it too much. And now we have a nice little ripple. Let's grab our mask path 1 and do Command D to duplicate it and drag your mask path 3 underneath your 2. Double tap M to bring up all your mask properties and just turn this expansion. We're going to move a little bit after our other layer. Delete the last keyframe, so the one over here, and just turn your mask expansion up until you just have a circle relative to the original circle we had, if that makes any sense. So now we are going to have a little pop, and it's going to make a circle. So press U on your keyboard to minimize all the keyframes, U to bring up all your keyframes, select all your keyframes, Command C on your keyboard, go to the very first keyframe, select your left circle, and we're just going to duplicate this. So do Command F on your keyboard, or Command V on your keyboard to duplicate that. So if you toggle down your left circle, double tap M to see all your mask properties, this should have worked. Unfortunately, it looks like all our properties were added, but it seemed to make a rectangle. So if we go into our shape and just reset this to an ellipse and reset this one to an ellipse, and then reset this one to an ellipse, we should be back in business. So let's check it out. Yep, it kind of works. It looks like it actually pasted my stuff backwards, so I'm going to have to drag this mask path 3 to the top, and then mask path 1 would actually be at the bottom, so it like inverted our keyframes. Anyway, here it is. There it kind of goes. It's not doing what I want. Why is that? Oh, our middle layer is not set to subtract, so it pasted the keyframes, but not with anything we needed. So I may as well just have redone that. So yeah, there we go. We got our 2 little circles. Command A to select all the layers, U to minimize them. If you guys are liking this video, please leave a comment, leave a like. I got some messages like you should make some more advanced tutorials, so I'm trying to. I just don't want to, like, you know, I don't want you guys to hate me. Basically, I'm trying to do something for everybody, but I don't want to move too fast for other people. So I don't know what a good balance is. If you guys like this pace of the video and what we're making, I can definitely keep making some cooler videos, maybe a little bit more advanced, even than this. This is still pretty basic, but yeah, I'd love to get up some cooler stuff. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. The video is not done. I'm just giving a little speech. I could let my hand rest for a second. I'm clicking so much on the mouse. Oh my gosh, we're touching on an hour, but I hope you guys have learned something. Basically, we have like 3 more things to add to this, and then we'll be all set. So let's just play this animation. I'm gonna just toggle down a little bit and do shift, well, whatever, I forgot what that button is, shift backslash to frame that to view. And there is our super cool animation. And I think that looks cool, but if we toggle our shy guy out, we're gonna select our layers, so Command A, and then I'm gonna click my tilde key to make my layer panel totally visible, press U to see all my keyframes, and what I'm gonna do is actually scroll down to the bottom and select with my selection marquee every single keyframe I've made. Actually, should I do this? No, we're going to do it a different way. Never mind. That was a total lie. I think there's going to be an easier and a better way to do this. So we have a lot going on in this, obviously, and it looks pretty cool. But we need to add more. Like, we just have a very basic logo build on, and we can make this more interesting very, very easily just by adding a little bit more content. So let's take a look, because I've completely forgotten what the next couple of steps were, how we can make this more interesting. So we have our build on. It looks pretty similar. We need to bring on our background. So what we're going to do is just minimize this and bring on our background. So what I think I'm going to do is, once again, click our shy guy and select all the layers that we're done with, and also click the shy guy, so we're just working with the background, which is actually a circle, if you haven't forgotten. So I'm going to scale this down until we have our circle. Command Y on our keyboard for a new solid. I'm going to select the color of the circle and click into my color layer and turn my brightness, go to my brightness settings, and just turn this to a little bit brighter, and press OK, OK, drag this down to the bottom, and we now have a nice background to work with. So what we're going to do is actually select our background layer, and we're actually not going to use it, surprisingly. Let's actually go and select an ellipse tool and draw a circle, and just with your eyedropper tool, so select your fill and grab your eyedropper tool, select the same color as our circle, and go into our stroke and turn our stroke on. Select our stroke color, go to your eyedropper tool and select the fill color. Say OK, go to your fill and turn your fill off, and turn your stroke on. So we now have a circle with a stroke. That took forever. Sorry about that, guys. Let's turn our background off, because now we don't really need it. And select our shape layer 1, which I'm going to call main background, I guess. So main BG, I'm going to use my move anchor point script to put the anchor point in the middle of this, and then just align this to the middle of my composition very easily. So let's hold Command and click our twirl down button here, and just toggle down a little bit until we see our the option we're looking for, which is our line cap. We want to switch to a round cap, and you'll see why in just a second. So let's go to our add properties up here and add a trim path. So I'm going to click my trim path. It's added. I'm going to toggle down on my trim paths and set an end keyframe here, and then go up and also set a keyframe on our stroke width. Press U to only see the keyframes we want to work with, and then go forward in time until our deer is kind of built on. So it looks like our deer is slightly off centered. So all I'm going to do is just drag the circle over until it kind of is in the middle of the deer. So kind of like a sniper scope right in the middle of the deer's head, which is pretty phenomenal. And what we're going to do is just crank this end stroke down a little bit, so it's kind of like halfway, something like this. And I'm going to delete these first keyframes, and then set another keyframe on our stroke width. So if we go back in time till when the deer head is starting to turn on, so right about there, I'm going to first turn my stroke width down to 0, and then also turn my end down to 0 as well. So now it's going to look like it kind of draws on, which looks cool. So what we're going to do now is just move our stroke forward a little bit. So maybe when the wings start coming on, so about here, we're going to go forward and turn your end up to 100%. And what we're now going to do is zoom out and turn our stroke up as much as possible until it fills the entire frame. So that would be 1780 for me. I'm going to select both these layers, F9 on the keyboard, go into my graph editor. Where is this? And it looks like this is what I want, and just turn my speed up like that. And let's see. So now I should have a little bit more interesting movement. It kind of pops on. Kind of funny though. So what we're going to do is move our stroke width, the first keyframe, more to the middle. So the circle is actually drawing on before it starts to get huge. So should draw on a little bit. Nice, it gets huge. Perfect. So let's drag our main background down a little bit to the background, just so it's behind all of our graphics we made. And let's check this out. So it looks pretty cool, I think. But what would be fun is if we had, maybe like 2 or 3 other layers of this. So what we're going to do is select our main BG and do Command D on your keyboard to duplicate it, drag it behind your first layer, and go up into your stroke color, and just with your B, so your brightness selected, just change the color to maybe like a lot more bright, and just press R for rotation and turn this to like the opposite side, or just wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. And then do Command D one more time and press R and move this one additionally to a different part. And then click your stroke for this one and turn your brightness to a completely different color, so maybe black. So now what's going to do is it looks like we're going to have a whole bunch of different cool layers happen for our background. So I'm going to press U to see our keyframes, and if we stagger these, we'll get a lot cooler effects. So I'm going to select this first one and move this kind of there. Just kind of stagger these however you want. It doesn't have to be perfect. And now it's going to look like we have tons and tons of cool layers happening, and just some interesting stuff. So look at that. It's so fancy. So I like that effect. I think it looks cool. Now what we're going to do is, since we kind of used this Venetian blind in the beginning, and it's kind of became a motif of the graphic, I wanted to use it again somehow. So I was thinking that the best way to do this would be to simply create another solid. So do Command Y on your keyboard, and it doesn't really matter what color it is, and press OK. So I'm going to call this lines, and then just go up into my effects and presets and select, I'm going to type in VEN for Venetian, and drag this Venetian blinds onto my line layer, and once again rotate a bit until it looks good. So 117. Turn up your what have I done here? I think I dropped it onto the wrong layer, possibly. This is very funky. Oh, no, I guess not. Oh, it's just the same color as our background. I was stupid. So what are we doing here? Let's select our lines, our line layer, and do Shift Command Y to bring up our properties. And let's actually change this to a white color. So now it makes sense, and press OK. So with our line layer, what would be interesting is to make another like little circle burst, I was thinking. So let's just toggle this. Whoa, this looks nuts. Whoa, that really just freaked my eyes out. So let's just turn this to maybe like the opposite diagonal angle of our original Venetian blinds, which are going this way, and maybe turn our width up a little bit because that's very thin. I'm going to turn it up to 55 and then turn my transition complete down, so we have these really tight lines, and that looks cool. So now what I'm going to do is just create a mask path for this. So let's draw another circle and just draw it in the middle, set your move anchor point to the middle, and align this in the middle of your composition just like this, and turn your stroke up. So that looks cool. And what we're going to do with this is, just let me figure this out real quick. I can't see what's going on behind us. So as this deer is coming on, let's say maybe after the first little background circle is drawn on, so something like this, where you have like a donut almost, let's start animating this circle mask we're just going to make. So I'm going to press S on my keyboard for scale, and then hold Command and toggle down my arrows until I can see the stroke, and click the stroke width, and then press U on your keyboard for your properties. And what we're going to do is just scale this down. Whoa. Scale this down and make sure your move anchor point, or your anchor point, is in the middle of this. Scale this down to, I can kind of see the deer through it, so about right in the middle of the deer, and then turn your stroke width down to 0, and then go forward a little bit pretty fast. So I don't know, something like this if I hide the line layer. So maybe once we're actually seeing our deer, and I'm going to once again do the sniper scope effect, get it in the middle of our deer, and turn my width up to, I'm going to call that 257. So a similar width to our background, scale it up a little bit, go forward a little bit, and at this point scale it up a little bit more and turn your stroke with that down all the way. So I guess I can actually delete this middle scale point because it's kind of redundant. So now it's going to, if I solo this layer, you can kind of see it gets big and small, similar to the pop effect we did with the mask. Let's select all these layers, F9 on your keyboard for easy ease, toggle into here, and let's just change something randomly and call that good. I have no idea what's happening with it, but it should look kind of more interesting because I don't know what I did. So now we're going to have this nice little pop effect, and that looks cool. So we're going to use this pop effect as a mask for our lines. So what we're going to do is actually duplicate this effect, press U to bring up your keyframes, and just drag this forward a little bit so it's slightly staggered to our original, and then go into your scale properties and just don't turn it up quite as high. So I'm going to turn mine actually down a little bit, maybe more to 106. And then I'm going to press T for opacity on both these layers, and I'm going to make these slightly opaque. So my first one is going to be 45, the smaller of the two, and my second one I'm going to make like 20. So we'll select both these layers and do Shift Command C to pre-compose them, and I'm going to call this line masks and press OK. So then I'm going to select my line layer, which is this Venetian blinds, and go to my track matte and click Alpha Matte. So now what happens is we're going to have a very cool little line effect happen. Like that looks nuts, and it was pretty easy. So that's just a way to kind of cheat and make it look like some very complex movements very quickly and easily. So let's see, what else do we have to do? I'm really sorry this video is taking so long, guys. Yeah, the more advanced videos start to take a little bit longer, so I hope you guys appreciate it. Leave a like, drop a comment, and do your thing. So I don't like that these aren't exactly centered on my deer, so I might actually, whoa, this is nuts, try to center this up a little bit better. Or I'll just leave it because it looks like it's off-centered. Maybe go into my line masks, and very hard to see, so I'm going to do Command Y for a new background layer, press OK, drag this behind my layers just so I can see what's up, right click and go to, where is this? Guide layer, just so it's not going to show up on our original. And it looks like I just set this middle circle up badly, so I'm just going to kind of center this a little bit better because my move anchor point wasn't in the middle, and that should have fixed our problem or make it significantly worse. What is wrong with this? So let me select these layers, and it looks like it's just not centered, so I'm gonna try to center this a little bit better. And well, we'll call it good. You guys kind of see what's happening or what's supposed to happen. So that all pops up. It looks even weirder than normal. And then, you know what, I'm probably gonna skip. That's super easy, is these little plus signs, or maybe we'll just make them real quick. Let's make them real quick. This video is as long as can be, but we'll just get the rest of it done just to say we did it, you know. So anyway, once all of our stuff is in, let's just draw a very simple rectangle. So I'll grab the rectangle tool, turn off my stroke because I don't want to see that, and turn my fill on. With my eyedropper tool, let's just select one of the blue colors. It doesn't matter. Center my anchor point in the middle of this. Command D to duplicate this layer. Press W to bring up your rotation tool, and just hold Shift and drag this 90 degrees. Select both your shape layers we just made and press R on your keyboard for rotation. Set a keyframe, go back in time, and turn one of them just a ton. One of the layers quite a bit, so whatever you want, and the other one like half as much. And now it's going to have a nice little spin effect. So we'll grab these layers, F9 on your keyboard just like every other time, grab your graph editor, and just crank this number. You can do whatever you want, just drag these little yellow things until it looks decent. I do not know why this green bar is here. I hope you guys aren't having it. It doesn't seem to go away, which is pretty annoying. And I think that's like a leftover from something. So I don't know. That's interesting. So we have that pop up. It looks cool. What we're also going to do is holding shift with both these selected, press S for scale, go up into your scale, and just turn this up a little bit after your rotation to 100 and set a keyframe, and go back in time a little bit before your rotation starts and set this down to 0. So now it's going to kind of pop in nice and smooth, and maybe bring my scale back. I'll select both these layers and just do a basic easy ease. So F9, not even going to mess with the graph editor. And there's our circle. So let's grab both these layers and do Shift Command C for pre-composing them. And I'm going to call this accents. And then basically what I did for our accents is now we have a composition with this in here. So I just, as it scales up, I set a keyframe for opacity, and then, yeah, I just set a keyframe for opacity at 100, and then as it was coming on, I set it at 0, and now it looks like it draws on pretty cool. And then if you want, you can press Y for your pan behind tool, move your anchor point to the middle of this little square, and then just with your scale tool, scale this down to whatever size you want. And I literally just duplicated this layer a ton and just put it all over the place. And you know, I rotated some of the layers just a little bit. I scaled down some of the layers just a little bit to make them look different. Pretty fun, pretty easy. If you want, you can even stagger the layers a little bit. Just drag them over, and since they're pre-composed, it's not going to mess up the timing of your animation. But yeah, you start to get some cool looking stuff happen. And once again, it's a little slow, but hopefully you guys get the picture. So anyway, let's go into a project manager, and here is our Superman composition, which is everything. If you grab your Superman composition and drop it into a new composition, it is now nested in another composition. So as this animation plays, we see everything we did. It looks cool, but what we can do is just right click our layer and go to time stretch. And if you set this to 50, it's just going to double speed our animation. So now everything's going to just move faster and look a lot better. So yeah, it's once again, that off-centered thing is killing me. But yeah, so we have that nice pop, all that accents and all that stuff. And now the last step would be if you select your Superman layer, go to your effects and presets and click optics, or type in optic. We should get an optics compensation under our distort. So if you drop that on your Superman layer and just turn your field of view up, let's click reverse lens distortion as well. Let's see if this works. It should work. Might. Oh, I'm turning it the wrong way. Actually, don't click reverse lens distortion and just turn this number up normal. But it basically is going to give like a funny like television screen look to your animation. And then maybe I will also click my view center and just put it right on this dude's eye, so it's a little bit more equal. But that just gives you a nice little bend to your stuff. And then if you do Command Y for a new solid, you can go and select a color, click OK, and drop this color behind your Superman layer, give it a little bit of a difference. And if you go into your effects and presets, last thing I promise guys, and just type in noise, you can drop a noise effect, just a basic one, onto your Superman layer and just turn your noise up a little bit. And if you click, as you can zoom in, it kind of looks like a TV now, and it's going to animate nice and noisy. So it kind of gives you just like that cool gamer channel look. You can turn this up to whatever you want. But now if we play it, yeah, it's gonna look pretty cool. I hope you guys had fun with this video. It was really long, but like I said, I wanted to start making some cooler stuff for you instead of like the basic things. I think we all want to do that. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this video. I hope you guys had fun with it. I should have some really cool stuff coming out on the website, some really cool free downloads soon, so be sure to check that out. If you guys want, find me on LinkedIn, and I'll friend you or something. And if you want, I can give you, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's so late. It's now 2:06, so whatever. If you want, find me on LinkedIn. It's in the channel description, and we can be friends, and I can, I don't know, we can talk and stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna play this in regular video, and the one thing I didn't cover is these lines, which is just a pen tool with that dashed line we talked about, and then a trim path to animate it on. But check it out. This is what we basically made today. Hope you guys had fun. Yeah, and thanks so much for checking out the channel. You guys are literally the best, and I have so much fun putting up videos, so I hope you guys have fun as well. So anyway, this was Matt from Mount Mograph. Get your learn on. Peace out.